Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the absolutely wild story of Super Robot Wars Y. This is a game that, everyone thought was dead on arrival, but it ended up becoming one of the most talked about entries in years. It's quite a turnaround.
Okay, so let's set the scene here. Picture this. It's August 2025. If you're a fan of the legendary Super Robot War series, you've been waiting 4 long years for a new mainline game. And now, SRW Y is finally here. Not only that, but it's built on a brand new engine, a first for the series in a long time. You can just imagine, the hype was absolutely through the roof.
Yeah, that hype, it didn't last long. What followed was a series of, and I mean this, truly disastrous marketing live streams. They showed off next to nothing, and you could just feel the excitement from the fans completely plummet. Seriously, by the time the game was about to launch, a lot of people were predicting the absolute worst. So, with all of that negative buzz swirling around, the big question on everyone's mind was pretty simple, right? Was this game just dead on arrival? And the answer, unbelievably, was not even close. Against all odds, the game launched and was hit by this massive wave of positive feedback from players. It just completely flipped the script practically overnight. All right, let's get into it. A legacy's rocky return. To really get a feel for this comeback, you have to understand just how perfectly the stage was set for failure. I'm talking rock-bottom expectations. It got so bad that the franchise's mobile game was getting more exciting news than this brand new console title. Ouch. Okay, moving on to defying low expectations. So, how in the world did it manage to flip the script? Well, the game's success really boils down to two incredibly strong pillars that just completely overshadowed all that pre-launch doom and gloom. And here they are. It was this powerful one-two punch that really did the trick. First, you had an absolutely brilliant story that showed a deep respect for all the source material. And second, a game-changing new mechanic that made the whole strategy gameplay feel fresh again. Those two things together, they were enough to win over even the most skeptical players. All right, let's dig into that first pillar, the brilliance of crossovers. Look, the story wasn't just good. It was a genuine masterclass in creating these surprising, delightful character interactions that fans had pretty much only ever dreamed of. Here's a perfect example of what I mean. The writers actually took a long-running fan joke and made it canon. You know Shin Asuka, the super hot-headed pilot from Gundam Seed Destiny? He's famous for this hand blast attack. So what do they do in this game? They make him an official student of the legendary martial artist from G Gundam, Master Azia. It's just perfect. And they didn't stop there. The writers even started connecting plot points from completely different series to evolve these iconic characters. Get this, the famous rival Char Aznable is profoundly changed because he witnesses the Luch's sacrifice from Code Geass. The result is maybe the most mature, even heroic version of Char we have ever seen. That's just brilliant writing. Now, let's talk about that gameplay pillar. The new assist link system was honestly a stroke of genius. For the very first time, all those beloved support characters who don't actually pilot mechs, like Miorin, could finally do something. They could provide these powerful, turn-changing buffs from the sidelines. This opened up a whole new world of team compositions that weren't just possible, but were actually really powerful. On top of all that, the sheer scale of the game was a huge surprise to everybody. Players were expecting, a standard-sized game. But as one reviewer so perfectly put it, it was like they ordered a medium meal and got the Pro Max version instead. Tons of players were reporting that it took them over 100 hours to see everything. That's just incredible value. Okay, but let's be real here. It wasn't a completely flawless victory. For as incredible as the story and gameplay were, the game is definitely held back by some very noticeable technical issues. And when you look at player feedback, you see the same complaints over and over. A really cluttered and confusing UI, super repetitive enemy units that made some missions feel like a slog. Oh, and a heavy reliance on recycled battle animations from older games, which really hurt the overall presentation. Yeah, that last point about the animations, that one was especially jarring for people. Because you'd have some new units, like the Wing Gundam Zero, that looked absolutely stunning, just gorgeous, fluid animation.
But then you'd get another new unit, like SSS Dynazinin, and it would look stiff and almost dated by comparison. It created this really inconsistent, almost distracting visual experience. All right, so let's get to the good stuff, your ultimate battle plan. If you're thinking of jumping into this game, trust me, you're gonna want a plan. So here's exactly what you need to know to dominate the battlefield right from day one.
Rule number 1, and this is the big one. Money is everything. Seriously. Unlike past games, money is now the one and only resource you use. It's for upgrading your mechs, it's for upgrading your pilots, it's for everything. So the main takeaway here? You will feel like you never have enough of it.
So, since money is so tight, you absolutely have to prioritize. My advice? Focus your funds on these 3 units first. You've got the Destiny Gundam, which is just an all-around powerhouse. Plus, it inherits upgrades from an earlier mech, which saves you a ton of cash. Then there's Grid Knight, a literal boss-killing machine, partly thanks to a bug that restores all its energy when it combines. And finally, the Lancelot Albion, which is basically an untouchable evasion tank. These 3 will carry you. But to actually fund all those awesome upgrades, you're going to need an economic engine. You need a moneymaker. And there is one unit that stands head and shoulders above all the rest as the key to your army's entire financial future. And that unit, my friends, is the Strike Freedom Gundam. It has, without a single doubt, the best map-clearing attack in the entire game. We're talking a huge area of effect blast. If you set it up right, it can wipe out almost every single grunt on the field in one turn. It is the undisputed king of farming that cash you're going to so desperately need. Okay, now for what might be the most shocking and honestly most impactful unit in the entire game. And here's the crazy part. It's not even a giant robot. It's a secret, unlockable character from a totally unexpected crossover. Yep, you heard me. Godzilla. The king of the monsters is in this game. And listen, this isn't just some cheap gimmick. The way they handle his inclusion is done with so much respect. His entire storyline is woven right into the main plot, and he's portrayed with this incredible sense of power and dread. To be honest, he ends up being way more memorable and impactful than the game's actual main villain. So, when all is said and done, what's the final verdict? Well, the reviewer we've been referencing here put it best after his own 100-hour playthrough. He said that despite all those really obvious flaws, the UI, the animations, the absolutely amazing story, and the fresh gameplay just make this an overwhelmingly positive experience. A big plus, as he put it. And that really leaves us with one big final question, doesn't it? Is this new formula, prioritizing an amazing story and gameplay innovation, even if it means sacrificing some technical polish, is that a sustainable future for the franchise? Or was Super Robot Wars Y just one of those glorious lightning-in-a-bottle moments that they'll never be able to replicate?